Hey everybody, welcome, and apologies for the delay in us getting underway. We've had a few technical issues this morning, which we've been working hard to resolve. So this session is all about different ways to start a business without spending any money. Like, I'm really curious to know from all of you, if you've been on a Rebel Business School course before, please can you type the word Rebel into the chat so that I know. If this is your first time, please type the words newbie or first, whichever works best for you, just to give me a flavour of how much detail to go into on certain bits. Great, and if you're a newbie, welcome, folks. Excellent. Tamanya, very nice to see you here as always, and welcome to the newbies, guys. So when I see the word newbie, I think great, fresh meat. Time to dive in and introduce you all to the world of the Rebel Business School. What's really important for you guys to know is I bet you've been on a free webinar before, and at the end of the webinar, they've tried to sell you something. That does not happen at a Rebel Business School event, because that's not our business model. We're not here to take any money off you whatsoever. All of our courses and programs and webinars are completely free, and they always will be. We will never, ever ask you for money. I mean, in the future, we might ask you if you want to buy a t-shirt or some coffee or something, but the training, the learning that we deliver is all completely free. We find sponsors, that's how we get paid. So that's important for you guys to know, I think. So let's dive into this then. So this session is a very empowering one, and it's a really useful one, especially if you're new to the world of starting a business. Okay, and the reason for that is the way that we teach business is very different to the traditional startup process. Now, the traditional startup process I'm going to go through briefly, but actually it does more to put people off than it does to help people. And here's the thing, it's the 21st century, business has changed. You don't need business plans and all that stuff anymore. It's useful to have a business plan at some point, but don't start there. That's my experience. Don't start with a business plan. That comes much later. Now, what we do say is, like, plan your business. You don't need a business plan to get started. And that's usually the first piece of advice that someone will give you. If you're thinking of starting a business and you tell a traditional business advisor, they'll say to you, bank manager or an accountant, well, where's your business plan? Write your business plan first. And in the experience of the Rebel Business School, and this is why we started, we've trained 30,000 people in 10 countries, right? It's not our first rodeo. We've been going for 10 years, helping people, empowering people to get started. Because the thing about a business plan, what's it for? It's for getting a loan. That's really what business plans are designed for, is to give someone with money an understanding of what the risk is and decide whether to lend you money or not. But if you're not going to borrow any money, and I highly advise that you don't to get started. We'll dive into that too. You don't need a business plan. What you actually need is a customer. So what I'm going to share with you over this lunchtime is how to get a customer at pace and get started. And I had a message from someone today who I've helped to get started very quickly. And bless them, they've been trying to get their first customer for 9 months. I gave them one piece of information and they got their first customer this morning, and an opportunity to pitch to another 15. Right, and that's what I want for all of you guys. And the key to that is getting started without spending any money. Okay, so the traditional startup process, guys, this is what it looks like. And for those of you that are new to Rebel, this really is why we set up the business school. We wanted to create the opposite way of starting a business because, let me go back a step. My business partner, he tried the traditional startup route years ago, and the experience almost put him off starting a business for life. So what I'm about to go through here, put this guy off. And Alan, he won't mind me saying this, bless him. He's white, middle class. He's got money in the bank, a supportive partner, a supportive family. His wife earns 6 figures in a big, company in London. If this process puts him off, what does it do for everybody else who doesn't have that privilege? Right, so that's what Rebel's all about, guys. It's about putting the power in your hands to come up with an idea, test it without spending any money and see if you like it. And the traditional approach says, oh, you've got to come up with an idea, write a plan, figure out how much money you need to borrow, get funding. Funding is a code word for debt. Spend the money. By the way, people tend to spend money on the wrong things when they start a business. And I used to administer grants programs back in the day. As soon as someone got £1,000 of money, they'd spend it on business cards and a website. Well, you can get both of those things for free. Right? So imagine if you borrowed the money. So, you know, people are spending money when they borrow it, and or sometimes even worse than that. And this breaks my heart. And the reason it breaks my heart is because I've done it before, is spending your savings or spending your redundancy money or the money that comes out of your bills account. Don't do that. Now, what I'm going to show you in this webinar is the next sort of 45 minutes or so. I'm going to show you how to grow your business using your customers' money and not your own. Like, does that sound a bit more interesting? Would you rather use someone else's cash to start a business rather than yours? I know I would, right? So let's keep going. People develop the product or the service, they make everything, then they figure out what their legal structures are, then they do the marketing, and then maybe they make money in year 2. Has anyone heard that expression that it takes 2 years to make a profit in business? It's a myth, guys. It's a lie. It takes 2 years to make a profit if you've borrowed money, but we're not going to be borrowing money. I want to show you how to start for free. And this is the gift that I wanted to give all of you, because I don't know about you, I can't wait 35 minutes for Deliveroo. I definitely can't wait 2 years to make a profit with a business idea. Okay. So the traditional startup process, guys, is dead. It's dead. And, you know, we did a little experiment. I took the team to America. We ran a program in Indianapolis, and we did an experiment with the lovely people of India. And we showed them how you could start a business for 12 minutes for free. That was our record. We built a 1-page website and started texting and messaging people on social media and got our first inquiry within 12 minutes. And that's what I want for all of you. What's really going to get you the progress and the results that you want is focus, taking some action, and not spending any money. Those have been my 3 golden nuggets of wisdom, which is the opposite to lots of people who are stuck out there. They don't focus, they try and do too many things at once. They spend money, and they don't take enough of the right kind of action. So I'm going to give you the antidote to that. That's what this session is all about. The traditional startup process doesn't sound exciting to me at all. That's what my face looks like when someone says I have to write a business plan. It's not quite as attractive as this, but you know, you get the idea. And look, just to hammer the point home, folks, I'm having different conversations in my business now than I was having 6 weeks ago. The world is changing so fast. I know you know this, but just to hammer the point home, what have all those 4 companies got in common? Stick it in the chat if you think you know. What do you think all those 4 companies have got in common, other than the fact that they've got loads of money? They are all apps. Well, one's a web app, I suppose. The other is web and mobile. But that's not the answer I'm thinking of. They do run online. That's not the answer I'm thinking of. They were started by someone. Yeah. They started in a limited budget. I love that answer to Manu. They did actually. I mean, some of these definitely bootstrapped. But that's not the answer I'm thinking of. Let me tell you, the answer I'm thinking of is each of those 4 companies are huge and successful, but they don't have any assets in their product. Well, what do I mean by that? The biggest taxi company in the world doesn't own a single taxi. The biggest media company in the world doesn't create any media. The second biggest retailer in the world, Alibaba, they don't have any shops. A retailer without any shops, like what the hell is going on? And the biggest holiday accommodation provider in the world, Airbnb, doesn't own any properties. Now, I'm not saying you have to start one of these, guys. I'm saying business has changed. Business has changed. And here's the exciting bit. The tools that these companies use to grow are available to all of us, and they're currently free to use. Let me say that again. The tools that these companies have used to become famous brands and super successful are free to all of us. I'm talking about social media. I'm talking about the internet. I'm talking about all of the free tools that are out there for you to use. The process that you need to follow is to focus on one thing and try that first. Now, if you're someone on this call that's got more than one idea going on at once, I understand why we do it. We do it because of fear. We try and hedge our bets. But if that one doesn't work, at least I've got these 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other hustles going on. But focus on the ones that make you money. Focus on the one that excites you the most. Focus on the one that you can start right now. It's what we call the mini experiment model. Imagine it's not a business yet. It's just an experiment. And I want you to pick one product or one service and figure out, how can I start that without spending a single penny on any of it? And I'm going to give you some of the how-to as we go through this presentation. Okay. Is everyone all right so far? Is this what you were expecting, by the way? Something like this. Nobody's here for yoga or anything like that, are you? No, good. Right. Great. Okay. Cool. And by the way, if you've got any questions, guys, please type them in the chat and I'm happy to answer them as we go, as long as the questions are broad enough that will meet the needs of everybody. If your question is either too difficult for me to answer, I might waffle. And secondly, if it's very specific that it won't help everybody, then we won't have time to answer that. We're going to be finishing the session around about 2:20 today. Okay, let's keep rolling for now. So let's get to the juice, guys. This is what you're here for. How do you actually start a business without any money? Well, the good news for your review is that we've done it many times with lots and lots of people. And I remember we run our course in lots of different countries, which I'm super proud of. And we got invited to Namibia to run a shorter version of our course in the capital of Namibia, which is a city called Windhoek. And there was this young woman in the audience. Her name was Florence. She was about 19, and she lived in a place called Katatura, which is the poorest part of the capital. And it's a really tough area, guys. I mean, these people are living on something like $10 a month for a family, and the houses are made out of corrugated iron. And her parents ran an orphanage in the township, and it was exactly like you can imagine it is. And I think the thing that struck me was, she said to me, I really like your idea of starting a business without any money, Simon. And it might work in London, it might work in Enfield, it might work in Kent, but it's not going to work in Katatura. It's not going to work in here. It's not going to work here. And I said to her, well, I want you to try one of my ideas and tell me how it goes. And she tried one of my ideas, and I didn't see her again for 12 months. I went back to Namibia the following August, and I met up with her. She got this big smile on her face, and she said, guess what? I was like, what? She said, I launched my business without spending any money. It's like, wow, well, what did you do? She said, I did exactly what you told me to do, and it worked. She said, I'm sorry I doubted you. And I said, well, I to be honest, Florence, I wasn't even sure if it was going to work, because I've never done business in Namibia before. I don't know what the culture is. I was still learning, right? But the thing that she did is possible for any one of us. Now, which version of what I'm going to tell you will depend on your business idea, what you want to do, okay? But the principles of it are, don't spend any money. Where you can, get paid in advance. That's the essence of it. And there's different tactics that you can use. And I'm going to show you how. I'll give you a couple of ideas as to how you might do that. But the key to this, folks, is focus on one product or service first, because then you can say to yourself, well, what's the minimum that I need to get my business off the ground? What's the products, the equipment, the branding, the websites, the marketing materials, the stock, and so on? And that's the question that I have for all of you. I'm going to invite you to put in the chat, folks. Put in the chat for me what you think you need before you can start a business idea, assuming that all of you are in kind of some version of startup mode. Right. So what do you think you need? Stick it in the chat if you've got any thoughts as to what resources, equipment, stock, marketing, what might you need to spend money on? Okay, got it, Sarah. An idea, confidence, and time. Product, says Justina. Website, content, online resources, and insurance. BC, you're going to like the next bit. A viable idea, says Karina. Tamania just needs to sign up for Zoom. Products, shipping, materials, says Terry. Premises, cool. I've got some good examples for you. Childcare provision, Claire. Okay, I understand that. Promo, says Tarika. Logo, says Justina. Ideas, says Tanya. Products, hairdressing products. Okay, right. I've got loads of ideas for you for all of that stuff that you've just said, folks. There's nothing on there that makes me worried that it's not possible to get these things for free. So let's go to the next section. Tell me this. Answer this question in the chat for me. What's the only way to know if your business idea is going to work? What's the only way to know? That's my business partner, by the way. His favorite jumper. Meet Alan. Yeah, try it, have a go. But what does try it mean? What does have a go mean? What's the action that you need to take? You need customers, Hannah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Is that, by the way, if I say anyone's name wrong, please correct me in the chat.
Yes.
So I love that, Justina. And I think there's a combination, that your most powerful combination is to create in your mind a picture of the outcome that you want, manifest it, and go and take a hell of a lot of action. That's the and I'm going to help you with that. You got to sell something, exactly that. So the reason for that, folks, the reason that we need to ask for a sale, and I'm going to give you some of the tools to be able to do that, you need to get yourself into a selling position. Okay, and how do you do that? Well, you've got to start having conversations with people. And when you have conversations with them, you can build a pitch. And the pitch doesn't need to be anything longer than just maybe 15 seconds, 10, 15 seconds. That's all it needs to be. And then ask someone if they want to buy it. And the reason for that is that when you ask someone if they want to buy something, you should see their face change. Like it's like their facial expressions really alter quite quickly, right? So this is the thing. You only know if the business idea is going to work when you ask for the sale. So this technique, which I'm going to share with you in a moment, called bootstrapping, is designed to get you in a position to sell as quickly as possible. So what do you actually need to start? Now, for those of you that have said idea, I need an idea to start, let me give you some thoughts as to how you might do that. I'm going to put these in the chat. These three things go through my mind when I'm coming up with business ideas. You know what, Justina? That's the last thing on my list. That's the last thing on my list. Because first we need to discover, have I got a business or not? And then I can do all of the registration and the bank accounts and all of the other stuff later on. What I need to do first of all is to get out there and start talking to people. Because I don't know. Remember, this is just an experiment. Especially if I haven't chosen an idea yet. Yeah. If I haven't chosen an idea yet, how do I know if it's going to work? How do I know if I'm going to like it? So what I'm going to introduce you to is something called the mini experiment model. Okay, a mini experiment model. So the first thing, for those of you that need an idea, these are the three things that go through my mind when I'm trying to come up with a business idea. What is it that I actually love doing? What am I interested in? Because your business idea, whatever it is, folks, it's got to excite you. It's got to interest you. You've got to be pumped for it, whatever stage that you're at. Because if you're not excited by your business, nobody else is going to be. And if you join our Rebel Plus program, folks, we've got a Rebel Plus platform, which is you'll have access to lots and lots of webinars. We've got another webinar that actually ran it last week for the first time, which was quite good fun, which was all about how to come up with, I think I something like 10 business ideas that you can start that without any experience. So picking something that you love, picking something that you can actually start, that you've got access to those resources around you. And it's the thing that makes sense to you to start. And I want you to focus I want you to focus, because remember, it's just an experiment. You don't have to choose a business idea that has to work and it has to be the thing that you do for the rest of your lives. I think lots of us get caught up in being a perfectionist about the idea that you choose. I can 100% guarantee that the first time you do it, you'll get it wrong in some way. And that's okay, folks. Now, when you work for somebody else and you get things wrong all the time, they get a bit grumpy with you. But when you work for yourself, you can't get fired, can you? Unless you fire yourself, right? So in which case, it doesn't matter the mistakes that you make. And I think, and I've been running business school full time since 2015. I woke up the other day, I realized that basically running a business is lurching from one mistake to the next, occasionally getting some wins in between and figuring it out as you go. And that's fine. That's the way you're going to get better results faster. Treat it like it's an experiment. Now, as we go on to the next bit, folks, you'll see where I'm headed. I'm just going to do one last little thing about debt, just in case any of you are thinking about borrowing money to start a business. When do you think is the worst time to borrow money in business? It's at the beginning, because you haven't got any customers yet. Okay, and it's based on the belief that it takes money to make money. Have you heard that expression? It takes money to make money. Now, that might have been true before the internet, guys, but that ain't true anymore. You don't need money to make money. In fact, there's an organization called the UK Startup Loans Company. They're government funded, taxpayers pay for this. And it's the scheme that the Job Centre will introduce you to if you're starting a business whilst on universal credit. And just beware of it, folks, because there's an APR, an annual payment rate of 7%. And there are people who will encourage you to take on a loan to start a business. What I'm about to tell you is the opposite of that, right? Because 40% of people default on their loans. I don't know about you, but I'm not excited about getting into debt. It took me a long time to get out of debt. It took me about 10 years to free myself of credit card mischief debt, right? So let's not, business is about having money, not owing money. Okay, business is about having money, not owing money. And we forget that some of the world's most famous companies bootstrapped their business, just like this guy. You might have heard of Amazon. Have you heard of Amazon? We forget, like, they're a famous company now, but they didn't start famous. Everyone thought he was crazy. I'm going to get loads of books and put them in my garage and sell them on this thing on the internet. Everyone laughed at him. Anyway, enough of billionaires. Let's keep moving. Most people actually don't want to be billionaires, do we? We just want a bit of power. We want a bit of control. We want to be empowered to live the lives that we want, not have to work for somebody else, not have to turn up at the same time on the same day to the same place to see the same old miserable faces telling us what to do. That's what, we don't want that anymore. That's what business is about. It's about taking control of our lives, making a bit of money so that we can do what we want to do. That's what this is all about. So we've got to figure out this. When you're starting a business, think of it like this. Your job is to drive the startup cost down as low as possible. You've got to make it zero if you can. You want to make it zero. Exactly as these guys that started a van rental company did. They started with zero. But when they came to me, they said, we've got a business plan and we want to borrow £33,500 to get started. And I said to them, are you mad? That's what I said to them. And they said, no, we these couple of 20-year-old lads, and they were kind of go-getters. They were bright young kids. They said, we're not like our mates. We don't want to sit at home smoking weed and playing the Xbox. We want to become, I remember them saying this word. They said, we want to become entrepreneurs. And I said, well, let's not borrow £33,000 to get there then. I mean, they went to the bank and they asked the bank, what do you think the bank said? They went to their parents, the bank of mum and dad. What do you think their parents said? It's so interesting. So let's move on to the next bit. So the techniques that I gave them, folks, is something called bootstrapping. And when when they just came to me with their business plan, the thing that really struck me is they said they wanted £33,500. You could start the same business for £300. And here's how we did it. I mean, put in the chat for me. If you were starting a van rental company and you were borrowing 33 grand, what would you spend the money on? If you had £33,000 to spend to start a van rental or a car rental company, where would your money go? What do you think? What do you think they wanted to spend their money on? It's a great answer, Scottish, by the way. A van, says Claire. Yeah, I mean, you'd expect, wouldn't you? Insurance, wages, vans, petrol, road taxes, van insurance, vans to rent out, vans, signage. Yeah, all of that stuff. They also said they wanted to buy a couple of second-hand laptops so that they had, computers that worked. And I think they were going to try and rent a small office as well. I said to them, you don't need a van. And they looked at me like I just beamed off another planet. They said, what do you mean you don't need a van? We're a van rental company. Of course we need a van. So you don't. What you need is a customer. Go get a van when you've got a customer. And you can use your customer's money to figure out how to get the van and the insurance and all that stuff. But I think that's the interesting bit here is when people start a business, they think they've got to get all their ducks in a row first. But what I'm saying is, add the ducks as you get there. You don't need to have all your ducks in a row first. What you actually need first is a customer. Once you've got a customer, then you get your insurance. Once you've got a customer, then you can figure out how to get the van. And this tactic called bootstrapping, and if you haven't heard this term before, guys, all it really means is starting your business for as cheaply as you possibly can. And the tactic is pulling your business up by the boots. That's why it's called bootstrapping. And this is the information that's contained in these next few slides, guys. It's like your entrepreneur's training course. Even if you say, look, Simon, money is not an object for me. Like I'm literally a multi-millionaire. I've got so much money stashed away to spend on my business. It doesn't matter. I don't need to bootstrap. I can spend all this cash. Like, well, you're going to waste it. But because the thing is this, even if you've got a little slush fund for your business, or even if you're not that concerned about money and you've got a bit of spare cash or whatever, by bootstrapping, it teaches you the skills, but more importantly, it's the mindset of an entrepreneur. It's a mindset that I want to give you, because if you want to change the way you make money, if you want to make a positive impact on your bank balance by creating something yourself rather than working for someone else, then fundamentally you need to change the way you think, because we've all been conditioned to think like good employees by our parents, by our schools, colleges, universities, culture, our environment are all designed to make us compliant. Now you know why we called the Rebel Business School, because we don't like doing what other people tell us to do. Basically, that's why I started it. I don't like being told what to do. And I think that's getting comfortable with that. Bootstrapping really helps you. It helps you get out of your comfort zone. Let's dive into this. The first thing, like whenever you think about spending money on something, and you can do this in your personal life as well as your business, but the question we should be asking ourselves is, how can I get it for free? So like for those of you that said in your chat that you need a website or a logo or products or insurance, the first question, whatever it is that you think you need to get started, question number one, can I get it for free? And you'd be amazed at what you can get for free. For example, I built a website here for free, Wix.com. And there's plenty of other website builders, and some of the new AI tools are literally one click and it's a website. Now, companies like this, their model is to suck you in with a free offer and then try and sell you things. But as long as you know that, you can inoculate yourself against that sales tactic. Yeah, and the tactic they're using, and this is something that might be relevant to some of you with your ideas, tactic that they use is freemium, a freemium business model, where they'll give you loads of value for free, and then spend the rest of their time trying to convince you to buy stuff. And if you do end up signing up for Wix or a website similar to that, and you do want to upgrade to their enhanced services, wait 3 or 4 months, because they'll send you a 50% off deal in a way to retain you as a customer. And that's what they do. They suck you in, sign you up, then try and sell you stuff. And then when you don't buy from them, they'll send you some better deals in a few weeks' time. Just hang in there, hold your nose. So getting stuff for free, we can get websites for free. You can connect a PayPal button to your website for free. How do you do that? You need to sign up for something like this. It's a business PayPal account, which you can upgrade within your personal PayPal. You can upgrade it to business and it doesn't cost you any money. The only thing you pay for with PayPal is when you make a sale through the platform. And I think they charge 2.9% per transaction. It's 10,000 or something. What else have we got here? You can make marketing for free. You can ring people. You can list your business on Google for free. Google business tools. You can use this website for free. Anyone like Canva? You ever got Canva yet? When I first logged on, my brain melted a little bit because it's quite a lot on there. Yeah, me too, Timon. It took me a little while to get my head around it. But once I got my head around it, thinking this is such a powerful tool. I can make social media posts look amazing. I created my own logo on Canva the other day. Doesn't cost me any money at all. So that's your first question when you're bootstrapping. Can I get this thing for free? If I can't get it for free, if I can't get it for free, can I borrow it? It's exactly what these guys did. And who is it? Somebody said that they needed a premises. I think that was Claire. So Katie and Andrew, their business is an escape room business from time travel. They set it up in Reading a couple of years before the pandemic. Now they went to every single independent hotel in central Reading. They spent a day walking and driving to all these different hotels. And they went into the hotel, asked to see the manager, and then they pitched to them. They said, we want to set up an escape room business, but we haven't got our own premises. Can we borrow one of your function rooms? And we haven't got any money. And most of them said no, but they only needed one of them to say yes. And you go like, well, what's in it for them? Hungry and thirsty customers who would not normally have gone in that building. So once the escape room was done, the hotel has only got the chance to sell them, food and drink. So question for you, Claire, is that when you think of premises, somewhere in your community, there will be an underutilized space that could be appropriate for your first experiment. Now, what stops us is thinking that the building has to be perfect. Now, I get that it has to be a certain standard because you're going to have small people in there, but that you don't necessarily have to pay for a premises. Another option is a profit share. You've just got to pitch to the person with the keys and say, look, I haven't got any money to pay you yet, but if this works, I want this venue to become a permanent location. Until I can pay you the fee for the room, will you accept a percentage of every sale that I make? And trying those different sort of pitches. Because this is the thing that I love. When I'm thinking of pitching and asking someone for something, has anyone heard of that before? I've just stuck it in the chat. Anyone know what that stands for? It's a WIFM. WIFM is my secret strategy for pitching when I'm asking to borrow stuff, or I'm asking to do partnership deals with people, or I'm asking for a collaboration. WIFM stands for what's in it for me. So if I can figure out what might be in it for the other person, I can go in and pitch them and say, hey, I want to borrow your space. In exchange for that, I can insert whatever it is that you think might be of interest to them. The other thing to bear in mind when you're borrowing stuff is it's like making, and it's the same when you're selling, guys. It's the same skill. This is why I say this is like the a sort of a training course for aspiring business owners. is make it easy for a yes. So when I'm asking to borrow a space or do some kind of deal or a collaboration, I often use the words experiment. Let's just try it once and see if it works. See if you like it. It's like a try before you buy. You know what I mean? It's like a let's make it a lot easier for them to say yes by dialing the size of the ask down and making it almost like it's not even a big deal, is it? Let's just try it once and see if it works. And if you like it and I like it, maybe we can chat again and we can repeat. But if it doesn't work, that's okay. We can find something else. So, and by the way, this is the strategy. Those of us that have got kids, this is the strategy that comes naturally to our children. Right? They do this almost all the time. So this is not breaking news, but we tend to forget this as we get older. Yeah. Like ice cream. Can I have some ice cream? No. Please can I have some ice cream? No. Can I just have a little bit of ice cream? I just want my mouthful of ice cream. Can I just have like one of the small ones, just a small one? You know what I mean, right? Guys, this is the same for us as entrepreneurs. This is how you get yeses out of people. And that's really what this is all about. Can I get it for free? Yes or no? If I can't get it for free, and by the way, there's free stuff on Facebook all the time. Google it. How can I get it for free? If I can't get it for free, can I borrow it? We had a musician from Nottingham that came on one of our courses in Nottingham, and she ended up borrowing state-of-the-art music recording studio and a producer and a technician to make her album for free. She was about to spend £8,000 of money that she didn't have on equipment to create a home studio. We said to her, like, you've got bored students and state-of-the-art equipment in a university less than 2 miles from your house. They need musicians to practice on. Go be practiced on. Go borrow the students, borrow the space, might cost you a case of beer. And that's how she got started. And that's what I want you guys to think about. It doesn't have to be perfect to start. Please put the letter P in the chat if you're at risk of if you're at risk of being a perfectionist. Please type the letter P in the chat if you might be a perfectionist. Come on, let's see. Oh, Tarika. I get it. That's the only reason I'm sitting here is I've made all the mistakes that everybody makes. And I've learned from them. So you don't need to make the same mistakes that I've made. You can make new ones. And then you can ring me up and go, Simon, I made a mistake. And they go, great. I'm proud of you. I'll put it in the course. I'll put it on day 3. So look, folks, here's the thing. I remember seeing this life coach once. She said, I can't launch my business yet. Why not? My logo's not ready. Well, what do you need for your logo to be ready? She said, I've asked the graphic designer to put 15 petals in, and she's only put 12 in. So I can't launch my business until I've got the correct number of petals in my logo. Now, you know as well as I do, this has got nothing to do with the number of petals in the logo. And she's just a bit scared of putting it out there. I get it, you know? But actually, we've just got to get on with it. That's the only way to make it perfect, is to get out there and start selling it. Never mind your logo, and let's get on the phone and start talking to people. So, can I get it for free? Yes or no? If I can't get it for free, can I borrow it? If I can't borrow it, what the hell do I do then? Well, the next step is to barter. Can you swap? I got myself an accountant for free for 2 years by making her a website. It was supposed to be a 1-year deal, but she forgot. So, like, what skills have you got that you could swap? What skills, what products, what services are in your skill set or in your business that you can offer to someone else in exchange for whatever it is that you want? And it's a powerful way of doing it. And I still do this now, guys. Still do this now. So that's another option for you. Now, there's 2 more left, guys, and then we'll wrap up. But option number 4, I got people doing this on the course that I'm from last week. Option number 4, got this. You do need to spend a little bit of money. Get yourself a slush fund. Don't spend the money from your current account. Definitely don't spend your savings. Look around your home and find things that you don't need anymore and flip them. Get rid of them. Stick them on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or Depop or whatever your weapon of choice is, vintage. Sell the clothes that you don't need, whether it's DVDs, books, games, whatever it is that you've got lying around. just have a go at selling some stuff and then keep that money separate from your current account, because you're not so psychologically tied to that money. That's the first thing. We've had people that have been through the course that needed to buy a table, for example, for their mobile beautician, and they needed a table so that they could do nails in people's houses, but was scared to spend the money in case they didn't make the money back. And they're like, this is my rent money. I can't spend that money. But if you've got a little slush fund, you keep your rent money safe, you keep your bills money safe. And the other thing, of course, that it does is it gets you into sales mode. And this is the bit that I wanted to give all of you. This word. You need to learn this. You need to learn how to sell. Some of you have got that already. Some of you have got that in other parts of your life. You just need to transfer it over to the business side. Like, there's some great blaggers. You could sell ice to the Eskimos, so you're persuading people, all the time. We just need to take those skills and flip them into your business. That's the number one skill that will change your life. And this is why I love number 4 of bootstrapping and selling things, because it helps to build your sales muscles. And I can remember being scared of sales. I can remember my business partner being in tears on the phone with me, going, I keep having the phone put down on me. I don't know what to do. But learning those skills and learning how to enjoy selling is the thing that will change your life over everything else. Sales is the lifeblood of any business. So let's get good at selling things. And you can start right away on the stuff that you don't need anymore. Now, what I told you about Florence and her t-shirt and hoodie business and brand, the rebel method is sell before you create. This is the thing where it's the opposite of what lots of people do. But I want you to think that you can pitch and sell things and potentially get paid in advance. Use your customers' money to grow your business and not yours. I've got some examples for you. But before I get to the examples, know this: most people create everything before they sell it. They write a book before selling it. They make a product. They get all of their ducks in a row. They're getting the legal structure in place. They write a course. We had someone that spent 18 months writing a course. Then she tried to sell it. Guess what? Nobody wanted it. They wanted something different. He wasted 18 months of her life. She could have pitched the course and written it once she'd made a sale. Okay. Some people rent an office before they've sold anything. And people end up with garages full of unsold stuff. Don't do that. And here's the thing. You can buy a house that hasn't been built, right? You can walk into an empty field and a salesperson will hand you a brochure and go, one day there'll be a £500,000 house here. And then people that have got £500,000 to spend or raise for a house, they go, oh, I like this house, I'll buy it. They haven't even walked in it. How can you spend £500,000 without actually walking in a house? Now, I can guarantee that if you can sell a house without it being built, you can sell coaching, you can sell clothing, you can sell hand cream, you can sell whatever it is that you guys are interested in selling. The key to it is building trust with your customers so that they know in their hearts that you mean what you say. And that comes to the pitch. That comes to having a one-page website that you've built for free that gives you that sense of realness about the project that you're doing. It actually comes from having conversations with people so they can see the whites of your eyes and they know that you mean what you say. I've got some examples for you. The first person to sell, to make a profit at one of our courses, and it was in Weston-super-Mare in 2012. It was a guy called Dennis. And Dennis was furthest away from starting a business out of everybody in the room. He'd been homeless. He'd been in prison. He'd recovered from addiction. He was putting his life back together. And his dream was to open his own cafe. And he came up to me during the course and he said, I'm feeling really depressed because I love all of these ideas, but no one's going to give me keys to a cafe and I haven't got any money. And we said to him, Dennis, you're not going to walk into a cafe straight away, but that's not stopping you from selling food yet, is it? Why don't you go and pitch to everybody in the room? We've got 42 people in the room that are buying their lunch from Sainsbury's. why don't you offer to make him lasagna? You know, because that was his signature dish. I asked him, he said, what do you like to make? He went, so, well, I'll make a lean, mean lasagna. I said, well, I don't know what a mean lasagna tastes like, but I'm up for it, Dennis. I'll make a donation of £4. So he took 22 orders. He used the kitchen that had already been approved by environmental health. He borrowed a kitchen. It was in the building that we were in. And he went round to everybody and he came back to me. He said, I'm still depressed. Why, Dennis? What's the problem? He said, I haven't got the money to get the ingredients for 22 lasagnas. And I can't afford the dishes to make them. So what do we say to him? You've got to go take the money in advance. That's how to get started. So he went back to everybody. He left the course that day with £88 in his pocket. I wasn't entirely sure if we'd ever see Dennis ever again. But bless him, he came back the next day with his lasagna. It wasn't the best lasagna ever, but it didn't need to be. Now, why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that because there were 42 people in that room. He was the person furthest away from starting a business. There were some experienced people in there, and they were staring at him going, like, this guy's holding 90 quid in his hands, and he's got nothing. I've been trying my business for the last 7 months. This guy launched about 8 minutes ago, and he's made a profit faster than me. Why? How did that happen? Well, it's the action that he took. It comes down to picking a thing and focusing, talking to customers and asking them for a sale. It's getting yourself into that position as quickly as you can. And we did exactly the same thing. By the way, that's Dennis in the front row with his checkered shirt on. This is the first course. We did exactly the same thing. We didn't write the course, we pitched the course. We pitched the course in April 2012. We sold it in April 2012. We got paid in full in April 2012. We wrote it in September 2012, 6 months later. Clients' money still sat in our account. We haven't delivered anything yet. We hadn't even written the thing. But we wrote it and delivered it in October 2012. How did we make that happen? Well, we said to the person that we pitched to, we said, to secure the dates, please can you pay us in advance? Has anyone heard anyone frown down the phone before? Like a crinkling of the eyebrows. You can hear like crunching going. We don't normally do that. Well, we had to get ourselves in a position to be trusted enough to get paid. How do we do that? We created the course with him. It actually did him a favor because he got his money out of the budget faster. He could do, you know, it was a thing that made it an advantage for him to pay us sooner. So all of these tactics, folks, are the ones that I want you to think about. You've got to be asking for some money up front, not necessarily full payment, but why not? If you don't ask, you don't get. It's exactly how Florence started that t-shirt business in Namibia. She did exactly the same thing. She said, no one will ever pay me in advance for t-shirts and hoodies. They won't trust me enough. And I said, well, what if they paid you 50%? So they pay you half up front. So you use your customers' money to go print the t-shirt or the hoodie. And then when you deliver the hoodie, they pay you the other half. If they don't pay the other half, they don't get the hoodie. Then you haven't lost anything. And they've got an incentive because they've already paid you some. And she said that was exactly how I got my business started, was using my customers' money. Other examples of when people launch a hijab business just by getting their customers to pay out front. We've got Ella from Kent who launched her business Quinn's Pins through Etsy. She put a design on Etsy. Nothing happened for 2 months. She was designing these pin badges. And then after 2 months, she got an order and she was like, oh my goodness, now I've got an order. Etsy's got the money. They've sent me the money. Now I have to go and figure out how to make the pin badge. So off she went and she made her badges. And by the way, if you Google Quinn's Pins, it's worth having a look at her website or looking at her on Instagram just to see how she's come on. And it all started from the design of one pin badge. That's really what I want to get from this. It starts with focus. It starts with what is aim. It starts by picking a thing and taking the action in order to make that thing and following up relentlessly and following up, because you don't always get the result that you want straight away. So what else can I share with you? I guess like a couple of thoughts to wrap up then, folks. Which of these 5 things do you think, when it comes to starting a business for free, do you think you could use? You don't have to do all of them, but which of those seem to fit your circumstances right now? which of these things do you think, maybe I could get paid up front in part or in full, or maybe I could flip some things that I don't need anymore that are around this, just as an experiment. Remember, that's all this is. All this is just an experiment. That's what I'm suggesting. So stick in the chat, please. Which of those 5 things is it about getting things for free, bartering, selling stuff, or selling create that light you up the most? And then I'll give you the final thoughts. Great, Alison. Love that. Love that. Great. So last bit here, folks. So last little bit that I wanted to share with you, and I'm going to give you a little tip on circle C in a second. Is this diagram here is exactly what I would use if you said to me, I'm not getting the results that I want, I'm not making enough money, I'm not making any money, I haven't got any customers. I would take you through this step by step. And I'm just going to share this with you now. This is like the opposite of loans and business plans, and the reason why some of us get stuck is, first of all, lean into the stuff that lights you up the most. That's what the love heart's all about. Pick something that you like, pick something that excites you, something that you're interested in, and then let's go through the circles, choosing a single product or service within that idea that you can start selling straight away, that makes sense to start with. There's loads of things that you could do, but what's the thing that you're going to start with and run as your first experiment? And then secondly, the who are you selling to? Now, let me just read this message to you that somebody sent me today. I think behind this is most of you in the early stages of business. So this is the thing that would really help. Okay, so this guy's messaged me today and he said, had my first call with a contact, explained passionately. Now I have a client and the potential of wider work within his organization. Right. Now, how did that come about? This guy only started his business 3 days ago. So how did that come about? It came about because now, when you come on a Rebel Business School course, and for those of you that have never been on one, please sign up to one of our programs. They're free. It would cost you like $2,000 if you're going to buy something like that. A 2-week course in entrepreneurship, totally free. Meet a bunch of people just like you. Runs 10 till 3 every day. It's on the events page on our website. I'm sure you can stick a couple of links in the chat for us. I want you to join Rebel Plus. I want you to come on one of our courses. We dive into this in much more detail. But if I was to give you the headlines right now, the people that win are the ones that go through their friends, family, co-workers, former co-workers, people that they went to school, college and university with first, before they try and start selling to strangers. And the reason for that is, depending on what the price point is, it can take you a little bit of time to build up the trust with someone to give you money. Because people will buy from you if they know you, like you, trust you, right? But if you start with the people that already know you, even if you lost contact for 5 years, that's where that text came from, was that guy went to someone that he already knew and he pitched his idea to them passionately. And that's the other thing I said, remember to be excited by your business, because if you're not excited, nobody else is going to be. And then then the final piece of this jigsaw is the C, circle C, which is taking the action to get a sale. Taking action to get a sale. So what am I selling? Who am I selling it to? And then asking them for the sale. Taking the pitch, ringing folk up. And the pushback that I get, final thought for you guys, the pushback that I often get is I don't want to turn up to someone that I met 5 or 6 years ago and start selling to them straight away. I'm not saying that, don't do that. The steps are reconnect with people, test your pitch on them, and you say something like, it's called soft pitching. You go, yeah, I've been thinking about starting this business, but can I test my pitch out on you before I start telling it to strangers? I just want to test it out. I'm not selling to you. You often kind of, but it's just getting that practice in there and just getting out there and starting talking to people. And that's really what I want you guys to do. So folks, that concludes this afternoon's thrilling white knuckle ride into how to start a business without spending any money. I hope that's been useful to you all. What I'm going to do right now is just pop a link in the chat, especially for the newbies to Rebel. I've got 2 resources for you that are going to blow your mind. This is the first one. If you haven't done so already, please join Rebel Plus. That's where all of our webinars that have been delivered already and recorded are going to be. And you can access podcasts. You'll be able to get a mentoring session for free later on this year. And we want you to take full advantage of that because it's all free. And then secondly, our events program. We've got some events coming up. We're partnering with lots of really cool organisations like Enfield Council, Westminster Council, for example. Kent County Council are sponsoring these programs to make it free for all of you. And to have that opportunity. So let's just get the right link for us. Right, so if you scroll down this page, guys, yeah, the replay will be available. It will be on Rebel Plus. And guys that joined us late, apologies that we had some technical issues. I think the wrong link was connected somehow. So thank you for everyone that made it across to here, and the recording will be available on the Rebel Plus platform. And yeah, that last link that I just popped in the chat is to our events page. Lovely to see you all, guys. Enjoy the sun. Speak soon.